So we have a segment here called Plug or Unplug. It's where I'm going to bring up a piece of gear, a plugin. If you use it a lot and you love it, plug. You don't use it, you don't like it, unplug. And if it's something that you don't really know, you can say not sure, or we like to say bypass.
Okay.
If you don't like it. Here we go. First one. Sound Toys Filter Freak 2.
Unplug.
Unplug, not for you?
Not for me.
Yeah. I used to use that a lot, and then now it's just like, I'm like, it's fine. I don't need it.
I can't remember the last time I even opened that.
Yeah, same. I love it. A Neumann U87.
Unplug.
Same. I hate that microphone.
Conrad had he was like, hey, why don't you want to buy my 87 from me? And I was like, yeah, I'll try it. And I'm like, I hate this microphone.
No, I'm that guy where I so rarely don't work in my studio, but if I'm at like a camp or something, or I happen to be at like a studio that an artist wants and they have an 87, I'm immediately finding an engineer. I'm like, get me a different mic.
Get me out of here. Get
me
something
stand
else.
That microphone. It's so bright and gross. It's very 2005 in my opinion. And I don't want this. This one I'm very curious about because you're a Logic guy. Flex pitch.
Pretty minimal. I mean, yeah, I guess I use it. It kind of depends on the project.
Do you use Melodyne or Flex pitch?
Not really, no.
No.
I mean, Conrad does when we're doing things, but Noah doesn't really love a lot, so we only do a couple things. And Jesse doesn't really like auto-tune either.
Right. It's always project dependent, obviously.
I always ask permission. So if there's something I feel nervous about, like there was like one note on one Lana song when I was just like, can I tune that? She was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's like one note.
Yeah. It's hard. I've convinced a couple artists I've worked with. There are some artists that they're like, I would like auto-tune on my vocal. That's like kind of part of my sound. I'm like, cool, great, love it. And then there's...
Well, and I mean, the other part, I think it's a problem is people who record with auto-tune. I don't like that.
I'm the same way. I really try not to.
False confidence, man.
Yeah. Yeah. There are some people who I've just learned where it's like, they really do sing better with autotune, and I just like bow out. I always try and convince them to try without it. Yeah. But it's a tough battle. But no, I was going to say that like there's been a couple artists that I've worked with where they've gotten so used to hearing their voice with tune on it, and I hear them and I'll record their vocal and I'm like, I don't know if you need tune. Like, I think you sound better without it. And then they're like, no, please just like do it. And I tell them, it's kind of a half lie, but it's like, I'll only do kind of like light corrective tuning where it's like, oh, I really love how you said this word, but you were a little flat. And I just, correct it. And I'll send it to them like, oh my God, I sound amazing. I'm like, yeah, I didn't do much. It's you, And
a good comp is key.
Yeah.
And then at that point, if you really feel you need it, Conrad is a very good vocal tuner.
Yeah, no, it's really important. Okay, next one is the Waves SSL G-Bus compressor plugin.
No, which one is that?
That's like their main SSL compressor, basically.
I use this one. Is that this one?
Basically, yeah. Okay, so you have like a real one.
Okay.
It's an unplug on the plug and a plug on the.
So,
is that
yes?
Is that the real? Is that
not? Yeah, it's a newer one, but it's it's a 4K compressor.
Yeah, no, those are great. I don't have a real one. I just I don't.
It's only the 500 one. I think I guess the other one's 500 too. I don't really love SSL, but the 4K is great on master chains.
Yeah, that's
and. One of my least favorite things about California, in addition to it's all of the things I think are uninteresting, is that the abundance of SSL console studios is obscene. And it makes sense because, like, ironically, when you think about what people do there in LA versus what we do here in Nashville, there are a lot more Neeves and API in Nashville.
And
there's a lot more full live tracking.
Yeah, they're better. In my opinion.
I agree.
I like
so
the taste.
I'm coming out in February for something, and I think I've located the Neve 88R room and the API 2408 console that I want.
Okay, very nice. That's exciting. Next one is Goodhertz Toop, their tape 2 plugin.
No, I don't think I've ever used it.
Oh, it's good. It's one of my favorite plugins. Lives on my mix bus. It's like I put it on vocals a lot. So it's a really good. I mean, Goodhertz in general, they're probably my favorite plugin company right now.
Should I write this down?
You should. Goodhertz makes really fun and interesting plugins that sound incredible. And I don't know, I highly recommend them. I really like them.
I'll check them out.
The next one, for our listeners, they know I asked this on every plug or unplug. It wasn't the original plan, but it just kind of became this way because it's very funny. CLA vocals.
No. No.
This one
I've only done one record where the artist refused to not, like, he had to use it on his vocals.
Yeah.
And he had a preset, and he just only wanted that preset.
And that was it. And that's that. They're just so used to hearing. Like, yeah. What's your reasoning? You just don't like how it sounds. Why no?
I just don't like the way it sounds. I think it's so bright and a lot of things. I don't like a thing that does a bunch of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's like a super digital modern keyboard that has too many buttons and controls, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like I kind of just want like, I want a compressor.
Yep, that's it.
Just put a compressor on it.
Yep, exactly. And it's like too, it's like a lot of it, especially if you don't like SSL kind of sound, EQ, like that's what it is. It's an SSL board.
Yep.
And it's and I find that's too, funny. You know, maybe I can ask this question now. Once you have a good vocal chain, you end up doing so little. But like, speaking of that, what's your vocal chain there? What are you working with?
It depends on the artist. Jesse's 1073. I got a Rev F over here too from the 70s, and I have a Rev A that I use for some people. The Rev A sounds really good on James Bay. So I do that with he sings into FET 47.
Yeah. How hard you hitting your compressors?
I'm at like 10 o'clock on input, at like just past midnight on output. You know, the attack is at 7. So attack's at 1, releases at 7. It's pretty full on.
I'm looking at my 76. That's like almost what I have here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm one of those people. So many people out in LA, I feel like they're afraid to use their compressors going in.
Well, people are afraid to commit, and I am lazy. I like to commit and have no control over the back end.
There you go. No, I'm the same way. To me, it's, when
I would rather just EQ. I would rather EQ afterwards.
Same. It's like I'll EQ and then I'll do some clip gaining if need be, if I my compressor hit it too hard or not hard enough or whatever. But it's like what I always say is, I like how my compressor sounds. Why wouldn't I use it? That's crazy.
Yeah. I've been enjoying. I got this crazy compressor. It's this right here, this Gemini Easy Rider.
Yeah.
It's an ADR compressor. It's basically like the micro of the compacts.
Yeah.
It's super cool. When I use it as a parallel for vocals.
Yeah.
It is so fucking aggressive. It is. So if you want like a really dirty like Casablancas vocal or like Kiedis or something like that, it's awesome. It's great rock records. I use it a bunch as a parallel for this Coin record I just did, and it's awesome. It's as a parallel, it's kind of like, but then mine's kind of fucked. So one channel is much better than the other one. The one that's the really fucked one is amazing for guitar. Like you just make a wall of sound. Yeah. It is so cool.
That's so. I noticed that your A there was an Audioscape. That I have their D, the Audioscape. How do you like the A one?
It's good. I have enjoyed it so far. I mean, I got that F, the Yuri one, and now I've been using that a lot more. But the A is pretty damn solid.
Yeah.
I used the real one the other day. Actually, it was a C, which apparently is an A, but with like a black face.
Oh, okay.
No. Yeah. It's very confusing. And they had one for Blackbird, and it sounded awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, a real one is still pretty amazing. Yeah. But they're not cheap. They're not getting any cheaper either.
No. I find with like some of these clones, not all clones are created equal. Audioscape happens to do it very well.
Audioscape does a fantastic job. Also, that reverb, the spring reverb, I think it has 12 coils in it. It's amazing.
Oh,
great.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah. Conrad has one, and we used it on the Coin record. Is basically the send for like the whole thing. Oh, God, we had like a Percassi set up, which the Percassi is great, but then the spring was just so sick on drums, all kinds of stuff. It was badass.
Don't make me buy more things, man.
I know.
It's so cool. Okay, and then the last piece of gear here. again, for our listeners, they know this, is that it's a very commonly used piece of gear or plugin. So this last one is the mic I'm talking on right now, Shure SM7B for vocals.
Yeah. It's funny. It really depends on the artist. Like that Coin record I just did, we used an SM5 for a bunch of it, and I love SM5s.
I've never used one of those. Yeah.
Oh, it's so sick. Have you seen them before?
No, I don't even know what they are.
But it's the precursor to the SM7, and it's a great mic. It's a great mic. We use that I work with this guy named Co Wetzel. We do all his vocals on that one. And then we were doing most of Chase's vocals on that. But then he wanted to spend more time on his own. Like, so even when we were tracking at RCAA, the Coin record, which is an amazing studio. It's got another API board that I love. And he was like, can I just take an interface and go sit at the piano and cut my own vocals by myself? And so that's what he would do. So he would take the SM7B and go out there and do that. Yeah. I do not like this mic. Yeah. Ryan Hewitt, who's an engineer and mixer that I use quite a bit, he has an original SM7, which sounds a lot better.
Yeah, those are hard to find though.
But people really like holding this thing. Yeah. And there's something about holding it that people enjoy. So if they could put more mics in this kind of configuration, I think more mics would be used.
Yeah, I think it's again, it goes back to that kind of like good performance thing where like, hey, there's that story about the first Coldplay album where I guess Chris just sounded better when he was like, holding the mic and able to move. And they that record famously used an SM58 for a lot of those lead vocals. And
same thing with the Killers, right? Yeah, all those records.
It's like if that's what's going to make them sing their best, like great.
If they got to be able to do that, and Chase loves holding it and singing it, and that worked really well from him. I know, and then we did. Every record's been a little bit different because you just want to capture a different character, also like a different vibe. Like I feel like one night I put Chase on a 47. It was really crisp and clear, and he sounded great, but he's just like I felt too clear. Like I feel like I'm sitting right on top of the mix, and he wanted to blend in a bit more. Or then you make a James Bay record, who's historically like a singer-songwriter pop artist, and he's like, I want to be right on top. Yeah. But I also want to feel kind of rock and roll. So the FET 47, which my engineer for that record was this guy named Mark Broughton, who I love, and he does all the Sam Fender stuff. And I was like, I want that Sam Fender like darkness, but like still pokes out. And so it was the FET 47, and it was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I have my 47. That's the kind of the vocal sound that I gravitate towards. Yeah. I'd rather have a dark, warm sounding vocal going in that I can it's easier to brighten things than it is to darken it in a nice way, in my opinion. Yep. And that's my like focus. That's why I don't, we spoke about it before, I don't like 87s. I don't love C800s, except when they work incredible. Yeah. But for the most part, like not for me. Again, it's also just taste. Every producer and artist has different tastes. Yeah. So I've taken up way too much of your time, and I think we have to end here. But dude, this was so incredible, and I want to thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing just so much, and all these stories are really such gems, and I think our listeners are really gonna love hearing about it.